And I have a guest commentator with me for the rest of the program who will be giving his thoughts on the news and issues of the day. And he is the Rise News Analyst, Mahmud Jega. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Great to see you. Been a while.
Nice to see you. Yes.
So, I mean, you've watched keenly the APC and the PDP chieftain on this platform, this studio, a couple of moments ago. What did you make about the arguments from both sides concerning the state of the nation, the economy? I mean, few queues and the hikes, President Bola Tinubu's promise to Nigerians. What do you make from the comments?
Well, both of them were very capable and eloquent guys. But obviously, if you are the APC man, you have a problem because this is a very difficult situation. I mean, even the government itself is not happy with what has happened, even though it says it has to be done, otherwise NNPC will soon go bankrupt. So obviously the PDP man had a good time criticizing and condemning and also saying what PDP could have done differently. But you see, increase in fuel price traditionally in the last 30 to 40 years is the most sensitive issue in Nigeria. It is the one that brings instant labor strikes and even spontaneous protests because it has a cascading effect on almost everything. First on transport prices, and that affects almost everything. Of course, the other one, more recently, is the value of the Naira, especially its steep fall in the last year or two. So together, it has made life very, very difficult. So although the government provided explanations, but you see, even the timing and the communication was also very difficult. The very morning that Nigerians had that the Dangote refinery has started producing petrol, and people were thinking, hallelujah, we are likely to have cheaper fuel because it is not being imported. Then we had this announcement. And then there was some confusion because the minister issued a statement and said, the Minister of Petroleum, that is State of Petroleum, that he didn't authorize the increment. So people thought, okay, the statement we saw must be wrong because the minister is disowning it. Only to see pictures on social media of petrol marketers climbing ladders and changing
the prices.
Oh yes. So honestly, it was very, very disappointing. But of course, the government explained that NNPC, and the stage was set last week when NNPC said they are already owing suppliers $6 billion, which is a horrible amount of money. And it has almost stopped contributing to the Federation account. And if it continues like this, paying backhand subsidy, because although the government says it is not paying subsidy, but clearly it is being paid by other means through what the previous government used to call under recovery by NNPC. You buy this thing, but you don't sell it at the price that you buy it, and the NNPC was already going bankrupt.
Indeed.
So it's a very difficult situation. But
difficult situation, yes. But if there was one thing I thought both gentlemen agreed upon was the caliber of people around President Bola Tinubu, his team, so to say, and they both agree that some people need to go. I wonder if you agreed with them. In the case of the APC chieftain, in fact, he's talking about almost everybody gone. The PDP is talking about first Mele Kyari, who is the head of the NNPC and others. What did you make of that?
Well, personally, I don't want to spend much time usually about people around. The executive presidency, and the same applies to governors at the state level, has absolute prerogative. The only people who are elected in the whole large executive branch are the president and the vice president. Everybody else serves at the pleasure of the president. He has absolute prerogative to choose, not only within the country, but even outside. Former President Obasanjo, used to identify high-flying Nigerians abroad and bring them. And not just high-flying Nigerians, even foreigners, if you want. You have the absolute prerogative. Therefore, honestly, I don't think it makes a lot of sense to say, you know, it is the people around the president who are not performing, who are not doing. There is certainly an element of that. But since the president had the absolute prerogative to fire people and appoint new ones any day, with or without reason, either using what the PDP man said, the Hadiza Bala Usman template of assessment,
Yes.
or even without any template of assessment. So the president should reach his own conclusion as to whether the ministers and advisors he has assembled are serving the purpose or not. But certainly in the end, the buck stops on the president's desk, as Harry Truman said.
Indeed, and I thought so as well. But the APC claims, and the president, or this government claims, that these sacrifices are necessary. It's a point that we have to go through for long-term gains. But for millions of Nigerians that are struggling to make ends meet, how much longer do you think that they can realistically wait for these better days that the president talks about?
I agree with you that while it is true that usually there should be sacrifice on the part of citizens, but the biggest problem is when citizens are alleging that there is no sacrifice on the part of government officials, like the budget expenditure of the executive ministers of the National Assembly is quite embarrassing, and some big purchases were made apparently without appropriation. And also there is evidence of some misplacement of priorities in some of the largest projects that the government is embarking upon without proper procurement process or even public hearing in the National Assembly or even proper appropriation. I'm talking about the Lagos to Calabar Coastal Highway, which is the single biggest project in the history of Nigeria, 16 trillion naira, and the figures are so whereas it is okay to call for sacrifices at some stage, but the sacrifices should not be such that they will kill the citizens, because if we all die, then by the time the benefits come, there will be no one around to enjoy it. Yes.
Oh, we do hope we don't get to that point. Mahmud Jega, thank you so much for rounding up the show for us today. We do appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
And that's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. To join us again tomorrow from me and the entire team here in Abuja. Goodbye, and thank you for watching.